Welcome, Leonard. How does it feel to be appointed the first Indigenous Chief Justice in BC and the Yukon?
Thanks for asking. It feels great.
What inspired you to pursue a career in law?
Well, it wasn't a straight line for me. When I was a young person, I was pretty good in chemistry, math, and physics, and I grew up dreaming not about being a lawyer, but about becoming an engineer. I studied engineering at UBC in the 80s. When I graduated, I found work in the oil industry, and I worked in that industry for some years before realizing that the corporate mission of maximizing return to the shareholders wasn't really something that resonated with me personally. I thought about some different options, and I decided to return to law school because I thought, that I might be able to help people with legal problems and other issues in their lives. I often say that the best decision I made in my life was asking my wife to marry me, and the second best decision I made was going back to law school. It was a good choice then. It's been a very fulfilling career.
That's fantastic. Your father, Leonard Marchand, he was the first cabinet minister of Indigenous descent. What influence did he have on you and your career aspirations?
My father was a huge influence on me. He grew up in a time when there was, legislated exclusion as well as legislated assimilation. So we had these laws like he wasn't permitted to vote in a federal election. He couldn't attend a public school. There were a lot of exclusions, but also there was the assimilationist policies of sending children to federal day schools, which my father attended, and as well residential schools, which my father also attended.
Wow.
Somehow he became a trailblazer. He came from a very good family. They weren't happy with him being away at residential school in Kamloops. They found a way to get federal funding for him to attend the public high school here in Vernon. He was put into a general, not academic program to start, but fortunately the people there realized that he was actually a pretty smart guy. He got into an academic program, went on to university, became involved in political movements like the North American Indian Brotherhood, fighting for things in the 50s and 60s like basic rights, including the right to vote, which was delivered in 1960, and he was elected to Parliament, first status Indian elected to Parliament in 1968, and then later he served in cabinet from 76 to 79. And he was always a person who believed in participating, being included, being at the table. He didn't always agree with government policies, but he felt that he could do more good, make more changes by being at the table and influencing outcomes. So I've, I would never compare myself to my father or try to measure up to the standards that he set, but he certainly led an inspirational life, and it inspired me and many, many other people.
Yeah, he sounds very inspirational. What would you say to other Indigenous people who may be considering a career in law?
Well, I think that law is critical. I mean, when you read, for example, you read the TRC report, I'm sure you have, you see that it's sort of ironic that the majority of the calls are in areas of education and law. And I say it's ironic because education and law were the primary tools of oppression, but the TRC sees those as being today, the way forward. So law structures so much about how we live in our society and how we exercise our rights. So having Indigenous people in the law is important, and there are a growing number of Indigenous law students, Indigenous lawyers, and Indigenous judges, and infusing Indigenous voices and Indigenous values into the justice system is a good thing, not just for Indigenous people, but for all people in Canada.
I have to agree with you there. That's all the time we have for today, but thank you so much for speaking with us.
Great to join you, Seth. Thanks so much for the interest.